Ladies and gentlemen, we often live our lives searching for validation from others. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that our worth is something to be measured by the approval, attention, and applause of the people around us. But here's the uncomfortable truth, one that most people don't want to hear. Nobody truly cares, at least not in the way you think they do. This is not said out of cynicism. In fact, it's a liberating truth. It's not that people are heartless or indifferent. It's simply that everyone is preoccupied with their own lives, their own fears, struggles, insecurities, and dreams. When you're constantly fixated on how others perceive you, you're giving away your power. You're forfeiting control over your own sense of self. And most importantly, you're diverting precious energy from the only thing you can control, your own life. What happens when you let go of this notion that other people's opinions define you? You free yourself to focus on what truly matters: your own growth, your own happiness, and your own sense of purpose. Let's unpack that a little. We live in a culture that thrives on external validation. Social media is perhaps the clearest example of this. We post photos, share opinions, and update our statuses, all while waiting for likes, comments, and shares to roll in. Each like becomes a small hit of dopamine, a temporary high that reinforces the idea that we are seen, that we matter. But this high is fleeting, and soon we're left craving more attention, more approval, more validation. It becomes a vicious cycle, one that keeps us chasing something that will never truly fulfill us. The problem with external validation is that it is conditional, it is fleeting, it is fragile. You can spend years building a reputation only for it to be shattered in a single moment of public scrutiny. You can pour your heart into a project only to be met with criticism or worse, indifference. The opinions of others are fickle, and they are often a reflection of their own insecurities and biases rather than a true measure of your worth. When you rely on external validation to feel good about yourself, you are essentially handing over the keys to your happiness to someone else. You are making your sense of self contingent upon something that is entirely out of your control. And when that validation is withheld, or worse, when you are met with criticism or rejection, it can feel like the ground has been pulled out from under you. So what is the alternative? The alternative is to build your self-worth from within, to cultivate a sense of inner confidence and self-compassion that is not dependent on the opinions of others. This is not about becoming self-centered or narcissistic. It is about recognizing that your worth is not something that needs to be earned or proven. It is intrinsic, it is a given, and it is something that no one can take away from you. When we say nobody cares, what we're really saying is, stop worrying so much about what other people think. Stop letting the fear of judgment or rejection dictate your choices. Stop living your life according to the expectations of others, and start focusing on what truly matters to you. But this is easier said than done. We are social creatures. We crave connection, belonging, and acceptance. And there is nothing wrong with that. The problem arises when we prioritize these things over our own well-being and sense of purpose. So how do we strike a balance? How do we remain connected to others without losing ourselves in the process? First, it requires a shift in mindset. It requires recognizing that the opinions of others, while they may be important, do not define you. They are not a reflection of your worth or your potential. The only person who truly knows what is best for you is you. The only person who has to live with the consequences of your choices is you. This is not to say that you should disregard the opinions of others altogether. Constructive feedback can be invaluable, and the support of loved ones can be a source of strength and encouragement. But at the end of the day, the decisions you make about your life should be driven by your own values, your own goals, and your own sense of purpose. Focusing on your own life means taking ownership of your choices. It means being honest with yourself about what you want and having the courage to pursue it, even if it goes against the expectations of others. It means setting boundaries with people who drain your energy or make you feel small. It means letting go of the need to please everyone and recognizing that it is okay to disappoint others if it means staying true to yourself. One of the biggest obstacles to focusing on your own life is the fear of being misunderstood. We fear that if we stop seeking approval, people will think we're selfish, arrogant, or indifferent. We fear that if we prioritize our own happiness, we will be seen as uncaring or cold. But the reality is, you cannot control how others perceive you. No matter how hard you try, there will always be people who misunderstand you, who judge you unfairly, or who project their own insecurities onto you. Trying to please everyone is a losing game. It is an impossible task, and one that will leave you feeling exhausted and unfulfilled. The truth is, most people are too wrapped up in their own lives to truly care about what you're doing. They may offer their opinions or pass judgment, but at the end of the day, they are not the ones who have to live with the consequences of your choices. You are. When you stop worrying so much about being misunderstood, you free yourself to live authentically. You give yourself permission to pursue what makes you happy without the weight of other people's expectations holding you back. You stop living for the approval of others and start living for yourself. Another trap that keeps us from focusing on our own lives is the habit of comparison. We look at what others are doing, what they have achieved, and we measure ourselves against them. We convince ourselves that we are falling behind, that we are not enough, that we are failing in some way. But comparison is a thief of joy. It takes your attention away from your own path and places it on someone else's. It robs you of the satisfaction that comes from knowing that you are making progress, however small, in your own journey. It keeps you stuck in a mindset of scarcity, where you believe that success and happiness are limited resources, and that if someone else has more, there is less for you. The truth is, life is not a competition. There is no prize for being the best, the fastest, or the most accomplished. There is no finish line that we are all racing toward. Each of us is on our own unique journey, with our own set of challenges, strengths, and goals. When you let go of comparison, you allow yourself to focus on your own path. You give yourself permission to grow at your own pace and to measure your success not by the standards of others, but by your own progress and fulfillment. Focusing on your own life requires vulnerability. It requires being honest with yourself about what you want, what you fear, and what you need. It requires acknowledging that you don't have all the answers and that you will make mistakes along the way. It requires being willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to take risks, and to embrace uncertainty. But vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is the key to living a life that is true to who you are, rather than a life that is dictated by the expectations of others. When you embrace vulnerability, you give yourself permission to be imperfect, to be human. You let go of the need to be seen as strong, capable, or invulnerable, and you allow yourself to be real. Focusing on your own life means being willing to be vulnerable with yourself. It means acknowledging the areas where you need to grow and having the courage to do the work. It means being honest about what you want, even if it scares you, and taking steps toward it, even if you don't know where the path will lead. One of the most important aspects of focusing on your own life is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are not about shutting people out or being selfish. They are about protecting your energy and your time and ensuring that you have the space you need to focus on what matters to you. Setting boundaries means being clear about your limits and being willing to say no when something doesn't align with your values or your goals. It means recognizing that you cannot be everything to everyone and that it is okay to prioritize your own needs. This can be difficult, especially if you are someone who is used to putting others first. You may fear that setting boundaries will make you seem selfish or uncaring. But the truth is, setting boundaries is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for others. When you take care of yourself, you are better able to show up fully for the people in your life. You are able to give from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Setting boundaries also means letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. This can be one of the hardest things to do, but it is essential for your well-being. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some relationships are toxic, draining, or simply no longer aligned with who you are becoming. It is okay to let go. It is okay to walk away from people who do not respect your boundaries, who make you feel small, or who drain your energy. Focusing on your own life also requires self-compassion. It requires being kind to yourself, especially when things don't go as planned. It requires letting go of the need for perfection and embracing the fact that you are a work in progress. We are often our own harshest critics. We hold ourselves to impossibly high standards, and when we fall short, we berate ourselves. But self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. It is about recognizing that you are human and that making mistakes is a part of the process. Self-compassion is not about making excuses for yourself or avoiding responsibility. It is about acknowledging your humanity and offering yourself grace as you navigate the ups and downs of life. It is about recognizing that you are doing the best you can with what you have and that you are worthy of love and acceptance, just as you are. At the end of the day, focusing on your own life is about owning your story. It is about taking responsibility for the narrative that you are writing and recognizing that you are the author of your own life. You get to decide how your story unfolds. You get to choose the direction that your life takes. Owning your story means taking ownership of your past, your present, and your future. It means acknowledging the experiences that have shaped you while also recognizing that they do not define you. It means letting go of the need to be perfect and embracing the messiness of being human. Owning your story also means being willing to rewrite it. If there are chapters of your life that no longer serve you, you have the power to change them. If there are patterns or beliefs that are holding you back, you have the power to break free from them. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your life. Focusing on your own life means living with intention. It means being deliberate about how you spend your time, your energy, and your attention. It means setting clear goals and priorities and making choices that align with them. Living with intention requires clarity. It requires knowing what you want and being willing to take the necessary steps to achieve it. It means being proactive rather than reactive. It means making choices that are in alignment with your values rather than being swept along by the expectations of others. But living with intention also requires flexibility. It requires being open to change and recognizing that life is unpredictable. You may set a course for yourself, only to find that the path you are on no longer serves you. It is okay to change directions. It is okay to adjust your goals as you grow and evolve. Living with intention is about being true to yourself, even as you navigate the uncertainty of life. This freedom is about recognizing that life is not a series of checkboxes that need to be marked off in order to be deemed successful or worthy. It's not about adhering to a timeline dictated by society's expectations. The freedom of focusing on your own life is about defining success on your own terms. It's about knowing that your worth is inherent, and no one can take that away from you. The beauty of this freedom is that it allows you to let go of the illusions of control over how others perceive you. People will always have opinions and they will always judge, but their judgments have no bearing on your true self unless you give them that power. So when you embrace this freedom, you learn to say, I am enough as I am. I am worthy, regardless of what anyone thinks of me, This is where your power lies in the decision to focus on your own life rather than being tethered to the opinions of others. Many of us spend a significant portion of our lives trying to control things that are simply outside of our control. We attempt to manage how others feel about us. We try to control their reactions, and we obsess over the way we are perceived. But here's the reality: we cannot control other people. We can't control how they think, feel, or react, no matter how hard we try. The more energy we spend trying to manage the uncontrollable, the less energy we have to invest in what truly matters: our own growth, well-being, and fulfillment. When you stop trying to control how others perceive you, a weight is lifted off your shoulders. You begin to see that the only thing you can control is yourself, your actions, your mindset, and your choices. And when you fully accept this, you reclaim your energy and focus it on what will actually make a difference in your life. One of the most empowering realizations you can have is that you don't need to be liked by everyone to be worthy of love and belonging. You don't need everyone's approval to live a meaningful, purposeful life. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free yourself from the anxiety of constantly seeking approval. You become grounded in your own values, your own truth, and your own path. To focus on your life and stop seeking external validation, you must embrace imperfection. So often we believe that in order to be accepted or loved, we must be flawless. We must always say the right thing, do the right thing, look the right way. But perfection is a myth. It's a trap that keeps us from showing up fully as ourselves. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of fear and self-doubt. The truth is, no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have moments of vulnerability, uncertainty, and failure. But these moments don't make us less worthy or less capable. They make us human. And it's in our humanity, in our imperfections, that we find connection and growth. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, you give yourself the freedom to take risks, to try new things, and to learn from your mistakes. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect version of yourself to pursue your dreams. You realize that you are enough, right here, right now, just as you are. The courage to be imperfect means having the confidence to show up as your authentic self, even when you fear judgment or rejection. It means being willing to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. It means letting go of the need to be perfect in order to be loved, and instead choosing to love yourself, imperfections and all. One of the greatest benefits of focusing on your own life is that it allows you to reclaim your energy. So much of our mental and emotional energy is spent worrying about what others think of us, trying to please everyone, or feeling inadequate in comparison to others. This constant striving for approval is exhausting, and it leaves little room for the things that truly matter: our passions, our creativity, and our well-being. When you let go of the need for external validation, you create space for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. You have more energy to invest in your relationships, your goals, and your personal growth. You have more time to pursue the things that light you up, the things that make you feel alive. Reclaiming your energy also means setting boundaries with people and situations that drain you. It means being intentional about where you focus your attention and not allowing yourself to be pulled in a million different directions by the demands and expectations of others. This doesn't mean that you stop caring about the people in your life. It doesn't mean that you become selfish or indifferent. What it means is that you prioritize your own well-being so that you can show up fully for the people who matter most to you. It means that you stop sacrificing your own happiness for the sake of others' approval and instead focus on living a life that feels meaningful and authentic to you. To focus on your own life is to live authentically. It means being true to yourself, even when it's uncomfortable or scary. It means making choices that are aligned with your values, rather than choices that are designed to please others or meet societal expectations. Living authentically requires you to get clear on who you are and what you want. It requires you to do the inner work of understanding your values, your passions, and your purpose. It means asking yourself the hard questions. What do I want out of life? What matters most to me? What kind of person do I want to be? When you live authentically, you stop trying to fit into a mold that wasn't made for you. You stop trying to be someone you're not in order to gain acceptance or approval. Instead, you embrace who you are, and you allow that to guide your choices and actions. Living authentically also means being willing to disappoint others. Not everyone will understand or agree with your choices, and that's okay. You are not responsible for meeting everyone's expectations. You are responsible for living a life that is true to you. And when you do that, you attract the right people into your life, people who appreciate and support the real you, not the version of you that you think they want to see. Focusing on your own life requires regular self-reflection. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, to go through the motions without really thinking about what you're doing or why. But in order to live a life that is intentional and aligned with your values, you must take the time to reflect on your choices and actions. Self-reflection is about checking in with yourself. It's about asking yourself if the life you're living is the life you truly want. It's about being honest with yourself about what's working and what's not, and being willing to make changes when necessary. Self-reflection also helps you stay connected to your purpose. It reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing, and it keeps you focused on what truly matters. When you take the time to reflect on your life, you gain clarity and perspective. You're able to see where you might be veering off course, and you can make adjustments to get back on track. But self-reflection isn't always easy. It requires vulnerability and honesty. It requires you to look at the parts of your life that may be uncomfortable or painful. But it's through this process of reflection that you grow. It's through this process that you become more aligned with who you truly are. Focusing on your own life means recognizing the power of choice. You are not a passive participant in your life. You have the power to choose how you respond to the circumstances you face. You have the power to choose your mindset, your attitude, and your actions. When you stop focusing on what others think and start focusing on your own life, you realize that you have more control over your happiness than you once thought. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. You can choose to dwell on negativity, or you can choose to find the lessons and opportunities in even the most difficult situations. The power of choice also means that you are not bound by the past. You are not defined by your mistakes, your failures, or your shortcomings. You have the power to rewrite your story at any moment. You have the power to choose a new path, a new mindset, and a new way of being. This realization is incredibly empowering. It reminds you that no matter where you are in life, no matter what challenges you are facing, you always have the power to make a choice. You can choose to focus on what matters to you. You can choose to let go of the need for external validation. You can choose to live a life that is true to who you are. Embracing the journey also means accepting that life is unpredictable. There will be moments of triumph and moments of hardship, and neither lasts forever. When you focus on your own life, you learn to navigate these ups and downs with grace. You stop chasing after fleeting happiness and instead cultivate a deeper sense of peace that comes from within. This peace comes from knowing that your worth is not tied to external achievements or the opinions of others. It comes from trusting that you are on your own path, and that path doesn't need to look like anyone else's. When you let go of comparison and focus on your own journey, you open yourself up to the possibility of true fulfillment. This journey is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up each day as the most authentic version of yourself, knowing that you are enough even in your imperfection. It's about celebrating the small victories along the way and being kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. Focusing on your own life doesn't mean that you won't face challenges. In fact, the more you live authentically and pursue your own path, the more you may encounter resistance both from the world around you and from within yourself. But challenges are an inevitable part of life, and how you respond to them defines your character. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to learn from setbacks, and to keep moving forward even when the road is tough. When you focus on your own life, you build resilience by staying connected to your purpose and your values. You understand that setbacks are not failures, they are opportunities for growth. Resilience doesn't mean pushing through at all costs or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It means acknowledging the difficulty, feeling the emotions that come with it, and then choosing to move forward anyway. It means trusting in your ability to overcome challenges even when the path ahead is unclear. Part of building resilience is recognizing that you don't have to do it alone. Focusing on your own life doesn't mean isolating yourself or refusing help. In fact, one of the greatest acts of strength is asking for support when you need it. Whether it's leaning on friends, family, or a mentor, having a support system can make all the difference in how you navigate life's challenges. A key aspect of resilience is learning to let go of the things you can't control. So often we get stuck in frustration and anxiety because we're trying to control outcomes that are beyond our reach. We want certainty, and we want to avoid discomfort or failure. But life doesn't work that way. When you focus on your own life, you begin to understand that there are some things you simply cannot control: other people's opinions, the future, or the outcomes of your efforts. What you can control is how you show up in the face of uncertainty. You can control your attitude, your effort, and your mindset. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means accepting that some things are out of your hands and focusing your energy on what you can influence. It's about finding peace in the midst of uncertainty and trusting yourself to handle whatever comes your way. This mindset shift is incredibly liberating. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free up mental and emotional energy that can be better spent on the things that truly matter: your growth, your well-being, and your relationships. You learn to adapt to life's changes with more ease and less resistance. Focusing on your own life also means setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set for yourself and others in order to protect your energy, your time, and your well-being. They are an essential part of living authentically and maintaining your focus on what matters most. Setting boundaries can be challenging, especially if you're used to putting other people's needs before your own. But boundaries are not about shutting people out or being selfish. They are about creating a space where you can thrive, where your needs are met, and where your relationships are built on mutual respect. When you set boundaries, you are saying, "This is what I need in order to be my best self." You are honoring your own worth and recognizing that you deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. This might mean saying no to things that drain your energy or taking a step back from relationships that are toxic or one-sided. Setting boundaries also means being clear about your priorities. When you know what matters most to you, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't align with your values. This frees up time and energy for the things that truly matter, whether that's your personal goals, your health, or your relationships with people who uplift and support you. One of the most powerful ways to set boundaries is by learning to say no. Many of us struggle with saying no because we fear disappointing others, or we worry about being seen as selfish or uncaring. But constantly saying yes to things that don't serve you only leads to burnout and resentment. Saying no is not about being difficult or uncooperative. It's about protecting your time and energy so that you can show up fully for the things that matter most. It's about recognizing that you cannot do everything, and that's okay. When you say no to things that don't align with your goals or values, you are saying yes to yourself. You are prioritizing your own well-being, And that allows you to be more present, more focused, and more fulfilled in the areas of your life that truly matter. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It's a way of affirming that your time, energy, and well-being are valuable. And when you start practicing it, you'll find that people who truly respect and care for you will understand and support your boundaries. Focusing on your own life also involves embracing solitude. In a world that is constantly connected, it can be difficult to carve out time for yourself. But solitude is not the same as loneliness. It's about creating space for self-reflection, creativity, and personal growth. When you spend time alone, you get to know yourself on a deeper level. You learn to listen to your own thoughts, to process your emotions, and to connect with your inner wisdom. Solitude allows you to recharge and refocus so that you can show up more fully in your relationships and in your work. Solitude is also where some of your greatest insights and creative ideas will emerge. When you step away from the noise and distractions of the world, you create space for your mind to wander, for your imagination to take flight, and for new possibilities to reveal themselves. Spending time alone is not about isolating yourself or avoiding connection with others. It's about creating a balance between time spent with others and time spent with yourself. It's about recognizing that you are your own best company, and that the relationship you have with yourself is the foundation for all other relationships in your life. Self-awareness is one of the most important tools you can develop when focusing on your own life. It's the ability to see yourself clearly, to understand your strengths and weaknesses, and to recognize your patterns of behavior. Self-awareness allows you to make more conscious choices and to live in alignment with your values. When you cultivate self-awareness, you become more attuned to your emotions, your needs, and your desires. You begin to understand why you react in certain ways, and you can identify areas where you want to grow or change. Self-awareness is not about judgment or criticism, it's about curiosity and compassion. Developing self-awareness requires taking the time to reflect on your experiences and your behavior. It means being honest with yourself about what's working in your life and what's not. It also means being willing to ask for feedback from others and to see yourself from different perspectives. Self-awareness helps you stay grounded in who you are, even as you navigate the challenges and changes of life. It gives you the clarity to make choices that are aligned with your true self, rather than being driven by external pressures or expectations. Mindfulness is not just about finding moments of peace in your day, it's about fundamentally changing the way you engage with your life. When you are present, you stop rushing through experiences and start noticing the details. You stop living on autopilot and start making more conscious choices. This doesn't mean you'll never feel stress or frustration, but it does mean you'll have the tools to manage those emotions with more grace and ease. One of the most powerful aspects of mindfulness is how it transforms your relationship with time. So many of us feel like we don't have enough time to pursue our goals, enough time to rest, enough time to rest, enough time to connect with the people we love. But when you practice mindfulness, you realize that much of the time you thought was lost was actually filled with distractions or mindless activity. By becoming more present, you can make the most of the time you have, and you can begin to appreciate the moments that might otherwise have passed you by. Mindfulness also helps you develop greater self-compassion. When you are fully present with yourself, you become more aware of your inner dialogue. You start to notice the critical voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy. And once you notice that voice, you can begin to challenge it. You can replace it with a kinder, more supportive voice that acknowledges your efforts and your growth. As you focus on your own life, cultivating a practice of gratitude can be a powerful way to shift your perspective. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you or recognizing what you have. It's about developing a deep appreciation for the abundance that already exists in your life. It's about noticing the small things that bring you joy, even in the midst of challenges. When you practice gratitude, you train your brain to focus on the positive aspects of your life, rather than dwelling on what's lacking. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to see the good, even in difficult situations. It means acknowledging that, despite the challenges you may face, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude shifts your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. It helps you recognize that you already have enough, that you are enough. It reminds you that happiness is not something that can be achieved through external validation or material success, but something that comes from within. Gratitude also helps you build stronger relationships. When you express gratitude for the people in your life, you deepen your connection with them. You let them know that they are valued and appreciated, which strengthens your bond. At the same time, practicing gratitude helps you focus less on what others think of you and more on the positive impact you can have on the people around you.